Okay, a very brief offertory, and then I really have felt like I want to give a testimony, so if you'll bear with me with that. First of all, the offering. This is Jesus Church, and I am so grateful to have a church family of fellow believers who come together and pray and study the Bible and sing praises to God and hear a message, because it deepens my faith being a part of this group with all of you. And I'm grateful for your generosity to the church to keep the doors open and to allow us to do things like our collection, which you see up on the table here, but I forgot some of my things, so I'll bring them tomorrow at Bible study and add to them. But our collection for Grace House Pregnancy Center to help new moms with their babies. And the plate's in the back, and you all know that, so thank you very much. And now, the testimony that's been on my heart that I want to give. 3 weeks ago, Easter Sunday, Austin preached about the resurrection of Jesus Christ, and all of the witnesses who saw him, his resurrected body, in the days after his resurrection. And then 2 weeks ago, Dave Buckley was filling in and preached a sermon called Is God Dead? Because of what all was going on in our country and in the world these days. And of course, we know God is not dead. He's alive, and he's right here with us right now. But what I want to tell you today is heaven real? 32 years ago, this incident happened, and it happened to me, so this is first-hand knowledge, not hearsay from somebody else. Got to tell you about two characters in my little discourse here. First of all, our puppy that we got for my son Kent when he was in first grade. And at the time this incident happened, he was a sophomore off at college. So I was living alone just with the company of our dog, Cindy. Cindy was the most special, most loving dog that I think God has ever created. And I'm sure everybody with a pet feels that way about their pet, but this dog was really amazing. The second character in this is my mother-in-law. Her name was Mildred. And I think she loved Cindy as much as I did. And when I had late classes to teach or we had to be out of town, she lived a few miles away, and she would come down and always take care of Cindy for us. And when we had those fires, maybe 15 years ago, that were right up at the end of our street, and we had to move out, she took Cindy to her home to stay and take care of, because we couldn't take Cindy to a motel that we were staying in. Mildred had a big heart and was so loving. So now you've got a little bit of background about this story, and let me get into the incident that happened. I'm not the bravest person in the world, and the house that I lived in at the time had two French doors out to a patio that nobody could really see from their houses. So it always scared me a little. And I got into the habit of locking my bedroom door at night. We didn't have security systems, or at least I didn't back then. So I locked my door, as well as, of course, all the other doors to the house. But I locked the door every night. One night, sound asleep, I sensed somebody was in my bedroom. Did you ever have that feeling if you raised children that, you know, your little child is standing next to the bed, they're not making a sound, they're not saying a word, they're just standing there staring at you, but you know they're there. You just sense, you feel it, that they're there. Well, I woke up from a dead sleep. I knew somebody was standing in my locked bedroom next to the bed, scared me to death, and I just laid there. I didn't open my eyes. I didn't move. I didn't want this intruder to know that I was awake. But I must have laid there for 2 minutes, hardly breathing, because I wanted to hear the breathing of this other person, and I was trying to figure out, what do I do? What kind of a weapon do I have close at hand to fight this person off? Well, I didn't hear anything. So finally, I just carefully opened my eye and looked around. And there was Mildred, who had passed away from her cancer a 1.5 years earlier, standing there in the bedroom. And I forgot one very important fact. Our dog Cindy had died of cancer about 3 weeks earlier, and I was so heartbroken, devastated, and grieving, because to me, Cindy was a member of the family, and she was like a second child. I loved her so much. And Mildred was standing in my bed, and she said, and I quote, "Peggy," she called me by name, "don't worry about Cindy. She's with me." And then she disappeared. I knew that if I fell back to sleep, I would wake up in the morning thinking this was a dream. So at 3 o'clock in the morning, I got up, took a shower, got completely dressed for work, and I sat up in my living room for the rest of the night until it was time for me to leave at work. It wasn't a dream. It happened. Heaven is real. Trust God.